Hello guys and welcome to another video. Today I've got something different for you. We are playing the Avenger in the Big Hunt mode. When it comes to this game mode, I feel like there are only two opinions out there. Either you like it or you hate it. For me personally, it is and always has been a lot of fun. I have to admit the rewards are kinda underwhelming, but I do remember a time where you would play video games just for fun and not for any rewards, so I guess I'm okay with it. The futuristic ship models are awesome, though I've already unlocked the one for the Akitsuki and I'm planning to get at least another one, and even if you don't play the mode, you should definitely take a look at the models in port. Wargaming did a great job here. Apart from our little break from random battles, another difference could be the voiceover today. I have not really decided yet whether I really want to do a proper quote-unquote commentary or not. On the one hand, going through my usual workflow will ensure that I'll get a fluent commentary with little to no interruptions, but it also requires me to sit down for 2 days on average, writing a script and another day to record the voiceover. On the other hand, the mode feels almost too silly and fast-paced to put that much effort into a video about it, but recording the commentary on the fly would also inevitably result in a lot of ahs and ohs, because that's just what happens when I improvise. And it's the main reason why I began writing scripts in the first place. So yeah, we'll see what happens. You will definitely notice if I switch to improvising at one point. But even if I don't, I'm definitely considering to do more impromptu commentaries in the future, because all that preparation is really holding me back when it comes to putting out more content. By the way, you can see the timer in the top right corner is actually broken because it's a replay and I went into another battle just to record the timer again. Obviously I needed to do the recording live, and all I wanted to do was sitting AFK in a corner of the map, recording the timer, minding my own business. But as you can see, the AI kept spawning monsters right next to me, so occasionally I had to kill them and move my mouse in the process before they could take me out. So that's the reason why you may notice some odd camera movement there from time to time. I hope it's not too distracting, but at least it's synchronized and it is what it is. So let's get to the match. We are playing the Avenger, basically an Amagi clone with triple turrets that only has access to HE with the main armament module that I'm using. I can show you my build here, not that it's something special. The replay you're seeing here was probably my second or third game in her, whereas I took the screenshot a lot more recently. It's all standard modules apart from the hull. Instead I'm using the second one that makes you slightly more maneuverable, but you get a little less hit points in return in comparison to the standard hull. If you play the mode, you will notice the amount of whirlwinds that are running around, and those additional hit points are not even enough to tank one more torpedo. So I figured it's better to be more maneuverable just in case I run into one of those. Not that it really matters, at close range whirlwinds will totally annihilate you regardless. They are really strong, and actually I think it's my favorite ship in this mode. In any case, this time we're playing a different ship. Just like in random battles, playing BBs on your own can be very frustrating, so I made sure to get into a division as fast as possible. Now we have 3 Avengers, so we are basically the Avengers. Sorry. You should be used to this kind of stuff by now, shouldn't you? But yeah. I really loved to play solo in the first iteration of Big Hunt. To me it feels like it was a lot easier and more feasible to have success playing solo. This time it's a little bit more difficult because people can take divisions into the match. You spawn separated, but all you need to do is finding your div mate on the map, and then you'll have a pretty big advantage over anyone playing alone. It also makes betraying people more tempting and easier if you can't tell two people went into the match together. Because they have different clan tags, you are most likely screwed if you div up with one of them. I think I remember the match just before this one. I met a dude, we played together for a while, met another dude, made a 3-man division, and boom! 1 minute later they both left the division at the exact same moment and killed me, and that didn't look like a spontaneous incident to me. But it's fine, I used to betray a lot of people in the past, so I guess you can call it corrective justice or something like that. What annoys me even more is that I would run into two dudes from the same clan early on, and they would chase me to the edge of the map, although I only had like 300 points. But they would totally chase me down, no matter what. Or I would get those Shimakaze main players finally living their dream, and they wouldn't do anything else than stalking me the entire game, even if it meant not making it to the portal in time themselves. So yeah, looks like this game mode attracts a special kind of people. This time around I'm playing it safe, hopped into a division as fast as I could, trying not to get sandwiched, keeping an eye out on my div mates and their turrets orientation from time to time, so they don't get a jump on me, and in general just trying to have fun. I also don't think the heal secondary consumable combo is the strongest for Avenger. That award probably goes to the heal invulnerability combo, but secondaries are just too much of a funny meme to not embrace them. I also have a pretty good Turpits game with a full secondary build coming up with the next video, and I simply refuse to not build my German BBs for secondaries. Even if Wargaming keeps nerfing them into the ground, I just have too much fun with secondary focus ships, even if they are not the most effective. So do I have any advice on how to maximize your earnings playing Big Hunt? Well, if you're playing solo, certainly don't take a BB, take anything else instead. Basically any ship that does more than 60 knots on average. I haven't tried the modders on Avenger yet, and they will probably hit insanely hard, but they won't save you from getting swarmed by a plethora of DDs. And even if you get a death strike with every salvo, there will always be another whirlwind just around the corner, launching torpedoes every few seconds at you that travel with the speed of light. Luckily, the human DD players in this match were less persistent and annoying than those I've met before. We didn't have too much trouble with whirlwinds and Hectors yet. This particular Hector is not playing it correctly. You don't want to walk into the secondary range of 3 BBs in a division. I've only played Hector a few times myself, but as far as I understand, she's more of a sniper. Her laser needs to be fully recharged before she can fire. She does a lot of alpha damage, but her DPM is rather low, so you want to keep your distance to your target so you can safely adjust your aim and not melt instantly because you are too close to your enemies. Still, I think the biggest threat for any ship remains the Whirlwind. She's super fast, can constantly heal, has stupidly hard-hitting torpedoes that reload super fast. She's really busted. Obviously, she can't do everything at the same time, but if you manage your charges smart, your enemies can never outrun you, and it's just easy mode. I've definitely had the most success in her, and oh boy, it's a terrifying sight to recognize the name of a good player driving a Whirlwind. Like for real, there's potential for a lot of humiliating stuff you don't regularly see in random battles. Anyway, the portal is already open, but we don't even have 1000 points yet, so it would definitely be a waste to head to the portal already. There are still 6 other players left, and Aurora and her minions have yet to spawn, so there are plenty of points to gather, and I have a pretty good feeling about the players in my division. In regards to the upgrades that you can acquire with your points, I'm obviously going for the secondary upgrades since I'm more or less secondary spec'd. Apart from that, I would recommend getting the upgrades that increase your survivability. In Avenger's case, it's called damage absorption, which means that with every upgrade the likelihood of enemy hits dealing 0 damage increases by 10%. Alternatively, you could get Defeating Blow instead. With every upgrade you'd increase the probability of doubling your damage by 20%, I believe, but don't quote me on the numbers on that one. Whatever you do, don't take the speed upgrades. I don't remember if they show up during this match, but if you can, go either for more damage or more survivability, and don't spread yourself too thin in more than 2 departments. In true wargaming fashion, the most interesting upgrades are RNG based, but what else would you expect from a BB in this game? Conveniently, Aurora's spawn is right around the corner. I was a little afraid that Avenger number 3 would leave us prematurely, so I gave her a little wake-up call with my main guns. Don't worry, evidently you can't deal damage to your allies in this mode, unless you manage to get some kind of dot on them, as long as you're not allied, and they join your division while the dot is still ticking, then you can actually turn pink. That's exactly what happened to me 1 or 2 games before this one. It's slightly infuriating, and I can't imagine it's designed intentionally like that by Wargaming, so they will hopefully fix it with the next update. Aurora and her flock of flyfires has spawned. I find that animation when the flyfires spawn a little bit annoying, since you can't properly see them for the first few seconds. Presumably it's meant to be some kind of warning sign, but for me it has proven to be not very helpful. I tend to miss my first salvo while they are still materializing or whatever. In these instances you should probably aim only by looking at the minimap. With potentially 3 secondary spec BBs, I reckon we are in a pretty good spot here, as long as we don't get rushed by a 3-man division of whirlwinds. But we'll see. The torpedoes of the flyfires are not a big deal for BBs, they only tickle. But there are many of them, and especially on your way out to the portal, the associated flooding can be far more dangerous cause it slows you down so much. So you need to be smart about the usage of your damage control party. Having said that, I don't really know if I used my damage control in an actual smart way during this match. In the endgame there will be torpedoes everywhere, and the most important thing is that you don't allow them to slow you down too much. So I did set my secondaries on the Aurora, and I'm trying to get rid of these pesky flyfires with my main battery. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I've had the pleasure of getting hit by Aurora's main battery yet, neither in the BB nor any other ship, so I can only talk about her secondary battery. And while it's not that dangerous for a BB, her secondaries can definitely melt you when you're playing a DD, so I recommend keeping your distance to Aurora if you're not playing a battleship, and to launch your torpedoes outside of their range. I don't actually know if that's possible with all the different modules available for destroyers, but I did take some serious secondary fire from her in the past. Eventually we did defeat her without suffering any casualties. You see my points rising to 5,000, so now it's about time to get out of here. We do have some company apart from the AI though, a sneaky Gale that wants her slice of the cake. There's also another Gale on the minimap, and I have no idea where she went. The other 3 players might be camping at the portal, we don't know yet. Torpedoes literally everywhere. As long as the Gale is not too close to me, I'm trying to take out the remaining flyfires, although you can't really decimate them during the endgame. But at least we can try to get rid of those that are a little bit too close for comfort. I saw the Gale using those torps with purple tracers. Once again, this is only superficial knowledge, so don't crucify me if I'm wrong. But I believe those are the ones that deal increasing damage when you manage to hit the same spot repeatedly. Would make sense to me because Gale can single fire them, but I haven't played her myself in a while, so who knows. Still dealing with the flyfires, apparently the other Gale exited through the portal, so that's good news, but me and my buddies still have to escape as well. And in spite of being happy about my points, let's don't count our chickens before they are hatched. You most likely know this already, but you get double the amount of points if you manage to escape successfully. So that's the goal for this run for sure. We have plenty of time. The only issue might be some, or let me rephrase that, plenty of unfriendly fishes in the water. I'm calling target on the Gale. She has already taken a beating, and in her excitement she might have come a little bit closer than she can handle. It doesn't really help her that she's not landing the majority of her torpedoes. Quite frankly, I've yet to see an effectively played Gale with the purple torps. She might be assigned to a cruiser spot, but she totally plays like a DD. And in regards to DDs, whirlwinds are totally meta in this iteration of Big Hunt. Poor Gale, power crept within one update of the game mode. That's wargaming for you. Gale went down, so there's only one human player left outside of our division. A Valkyrie pretty close to the exit. I don't think she could really stop us, even if she wanted to. The Avengers, sorry, I meant 3 Avengers, have simply too much firepower. The biggest issue remains the swarm of flyfires that's about to spawn. Mind you, this is only the first week of the event. With every additional week, the difficulty will increase, enemies will have more hit points and deal more damage. The portal will open later, but in return you will be able to take up to 6 players in a division into battle in the last week. So even worse prospects for solo players like me. Although it could be a nice challenge, but for now that's none of our concern. All I want to do is to feather my own nest. I totally looked that up in a dictionary. I don't think there's anyone who knows less English idioms or sayings than me. See, I don't even know the proper word for what I'm trying to describe. In German, it's seine Schäfchen ins Trockene bringen. Essentially, I want to run away as fast as possible without getting shredded by torps. Fortunately, our HP pool still looks pretty good, so we can afford to take a couple of torpedoes. As I said, they don't deal that much damage, but what we should avoid at all costs is running aground or multiple floodings. One of our ships already made it out alive. The AI seems to be mainly focused on the poor guy right next to me. Really interesting if you consider that I am the closer target for many of them, but I'm not complaining. Everyone is on their own on the last kilometers. Come on boys, only a few more to go. My mate has almost made it. More torpedoes from the left, possibly from behind. Oh, this was a flooding, I had to repair it. Come on, let's go. More flyfires everywhere. Okay, so my buddy made it out alive. It's only me left. Come on. Let's go. We should have enough hit points here to make it out alive. Easily, easily. Okay, no flooding. That's good. Another flyfire to the left. Nothing in front. Okay, I think we made it, boys. We made it. Yes, 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 yes. Whew. A little stressful at the end, but yeah, success, success. Neither the highest damage numbers nor a super impressive amount of frags. But honestly, the only thing that I care about is the points, and Big Hunt is probably the wrong game mode for bragging rights anyway. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. Don't forget to spread the word about my channel if you really want to help me out. Thanks for watching, guys, I really appreciate it. I hope to catch you next time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye. Not that it really matters, at close range whirlwinds will... But at least we can try to get rid of those that are a little bit too close. I simply refuse to not build my German